Fam. I hope you're all doing well, and I'm super excited because I got an awesome little lesson plan here for you today. We're going to be talking all about how to do walking bass lines on guitar. Now, this is kind of a technique that happens a lot in jazz music, but I think it's really awesome that you should be able to learn so that you can apply it to any other forms and genres of music that you want. It's a super awesome technique, and it's not all that hard. So let's zoom in and break it on down. Alright guys, this is a super awesome technique, and I'm so excited to be showing it to you because this is just going to open up doors in your playing, and it's going to really expand your kind of knowledge of the fretboard and how the guitar actually can kind of work as far as seeing all the notes on the guitar. This is really kind of based in a jazz technique, like a solo jazz guitar technique. Now, by no means do I consider myself a jazz guitar player. I'm primarily rooted in classical music. That's where my undergrad studies were all based in, but I did play some time in some different music, jazz bands and ensembles during my undergrad. But let's just talk about the chords here real quick, and then we'll talk about getting into the bass line and how I kind of approach it. We're playing in the key of G, just like I did in the intro. We're playing the chord progression of a 1, 6, 2, 5. You don't have to worry about what that means, but for you theory buffs out there, basically we're taking the scale degree of the key of G major, and we're taking the 1, 6, 5, or 2, and 5 of that key. So we'd have a G major chord, an E minor 7, an A minor 7, and then a D9, D79. And I'm only taking the most important notes out of this chord. Typically with a walking bass line, you want your notes to all kind of revolve around the notes on the 6th and 5th string. So that way you kind of get that bass tone, right? So I'm only taking the most important notes out of these chords here. So maybe some of these shapes are unfamiliar to do, but you'll start to learn some different triad shapes that you can apply all over the neck too. Let's talk about this G major 7 chord. G major 7 is usually played this way. I'm only taking the top notes of those. So again, I have my root, my 7, and my major 3rd. So I'm only really worrying about the root, the 3rd, and the extension of the chord, whether that be the 7th or the 9th or etc. So first finger is going to be on the low 6th string on the 3rd fret, nothing on the A string, and then 4 on the D and G. So that's going to be my G major 7. And I'm usually doing all finger. I'm a fingerstyle player, so it's easier to do this with fingers in my opinion. So I'm doing this, or a G major 7, then I have to grab an E minor 7. And what I'm doing here is I'm using this version of it. Maybe you've seen this before, but this is a movable shape that you can move all over. And what I'm doing here is I have my 3rd finger here on the 7th fret of the A, and my 1st finger is going to jump back to the 5th fret of the D, and my pinky, or if you want to use your ring finger, but I use my pinky, is going to come to the 7th fret of the G string. And I'm only, again, plucking the A, D, and G strings. So I'm here, to here, and I'm doing A minor 7. Instead of doing this full chord, I'm only taking the most important notes again. So you can play it this way, or you can play it this way, whatever is most comfortable to you. And I'm using all on the 5th fret of the E, D, and G. And then I'm going to jump down to grab this D7 chord. I'm doing this little kind of triangle shape. So my 2nd finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the A, 1st finger is going to go on the 4th fret of the D, and my 3rd finger is going to go on the 5th fret of the G. So that would be root, 3rd, and flat 7. So I'm here, G major 7, to E minor 7, to A minor 7, to D7. Super, super cool. And again, that is a 1, 6, 2, 5 in the key of G major. What you guys should try to do is after you're done watching this lesson is try to transpose this in different keys and get familiar, you know, expanding this all across the fretboard. So let's just play this without adding the bass line, and I was doing 2 beats per chord. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So I'm doing half bar changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what it would sound like if you're just doing full chords. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But now we're going to start adding in this bass line with these triad shapes that we're talking about. Now, the important thing to understand about walking bass lines is you're always trying to lead into the next chord. So you're always trying to make the root the downbeat or the strong beat of the chord you're trying to land on. So what that means is when I have this G major 7, the The strong beat is going to be beats 1 and 3. So 2 and 4 are kind of our weak beats. So that's where our chromatic notes and our walking bass line is going to kind of fall. So I'm thinking like this. So you kind of get the idea. Now what I'm doing here is to always think about with your walking bass line, you always want to approach from a note either above or below the note that you're trying to target. So in this case, on G major 7, my next chord in this is this E minor 7 shape. So I'm either thinking about going above it or below it. So from G major 7, so that would be beat 3, the strong beat, right? So I'm thinking 1, 2, 3. So I'm on that strong beat, right? And sometimes it's kind of hard to count. You just have to kind of hear it out to kind of get it in your ear. So that's above it, sliding above to the shape. So remember, you're always trying to target your strong notes on really beats like 1 and 3, because that's exactly where the chord changes are going to fall, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you're always changing on every 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So let me do this real slow with just the bass notes. I'm not even going to play the chord. So we're thinking, without even adding chromatics, this is our bass line. G, G, E, E, A, A, D, D, G, G, E, E, A, A, D, D. Right? I'm just playing the root notes of the chord. Now, I'm going to do this walking bass line with approaching the note from above the pitch. So I'm going every single note above. So again. And that's just with the bass line, right? Now let me do that on the opposite. So I'm going to go a note below. So check this out. So again, you're always thinking about using chromatic notes either above or below the targeted note that you're trying to get. So notice that when I'm doing this, let me go from above again. So I'm thinking G, F, E, B flat, A, D sharp, D, G sharp, G. Now let me go from below again. So now I'm thinking G, E flat, E, G sharp, A, C sharp, D, F sharp, G. So we went from this, of just the bass notes, and then with the chromatics, and think about this, the walking bass line is all quarter notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, and the most important thing about the walking bass line is to keep it going. That's what keeps the idea of walking, is you're continuing to walk the bass line. It's continuing to groove. Now, we want to try to implement the chords around this idea too. So now, with those triad shapes that we're talking about, we're going to implement those bass notes. So that would be one full circle of that progression. Notice in that, I not only use approaching from above, but I also use approaching from below. So it really just depends on where your fingers are at and what notes you're trying to target. So from here, I would come above because I'm going down below. Now, I have to go to this A chord next. So logically, it makes most sense that I go from above instead of below. So you can go below, but I'm already here, so that finger's already available to go over. Right? So the other important thing to understand about this too is now that we're adding in the chords, we want to start the syncopation process of this. The syncopation basically means you're starting to emphasize the offbeats. So where I'm putting the chord is I'm actually putting it on the and of 1 and on the and of 3. So check this out. If I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3. So notice that 1 and 2, 3 and it's kind of hard to count it at the same time, but just listen and you'll kind of hear where I'm pinching the chords on the ands of the beat. And this is a super awesome technique because when you're accompanying a singer, you can do these walking bass lines and you can really fill out the sound. So we went from this, you know, pretty cool on its own, to this. Right? So you can hear those little up chucks where I'm plucking the strings up. So let me kind of walk through this real again slow, and I'm gonna do it in two different ways with the chords now. I'm gonna go from above and then I'll do from below. So here would be from above. Now I'm gonna go from below. So check this out. Sorry. I said from below and then I hit above. Let me try that again. It's hard because my fingers just want to gravitate towards the closest note. So, but then we're implementing all these together. And what's super cool about this is you can do this progression where you just are going down in whole steps, like. Out. And you can just walk down the cycle of fourths. But again, I want to continue to keep it in the key of G. So on that 1, 6, 2, 5, I'm just adding in these bass notes around it so I get this whole kind of cool progression. And you can do this on any single progression that you want. You can even do this with pop music. It's super cool. So one more time real nice and slow so you get it in your ear. So that's still G minor, A minor, D7. Without the chords. With the chords. Super awesome technique. Let's transpose this to a different key real quick so you get the idea about how you can do this in different keys. I'm going to play C major 7 to A minor 7 to D minor 7 to G7. We'll talk about these chord shapes. So C major 7, like our dominant 7, all we have to do is we have to just raise our third finger up a half step. So here's like C7, like the same exact shape that we did down here, but now we're going to move it up a half step. So now we have a major chord, major 7. So we would have the notes C, E, and B. A minor 7 just like we did before, D minor 7, so like this shape and up here. See how these are all movable? And then to G7. So beforehand we were doing this shape. All we had to do now is flat that major 7 down to the flatted 7th. So finger wise we would have 3, nothing, 3, and 4. So if you wanted to analyze this harmonically, you would have a 1 to a 6 to a 2 to a 5. Same exact progression that we just did earlier, right? Now just in a different key, a different position. So that was from all above. Now let's do it from below. Moved all over the neck again. You could do the same exact progression here. So like how we had C to A minor 7 to D7 or D minor 7 to G7. You can do these in all different positions of the neck. which is really, really nice about the guitar is you can play chords in multiple different areas and it just repeats over and over again, which is really, really kind of awesome about the guitar. So how you have here. So I'm thinking C, A minor, D minor to G7. So where can I do that in this part of the neck? Okay, well I have a C major 7 here, right? Well now I need an A minor. Where can I do that? Here's A minor right here. A minor, right? So I have my C. Oops, I have my C. It's my A minor. Now I need a D minor. There it is, right there. There's my G7. Check this out. Same exact progression we just played here, but now just in a different location. Right? Super, super cool. Alright guys, that was the video. I hope you really liked it. Let me know what you'd like to see next as far as technique videos, and let me know what other kind of song lessons you'd like to see as well. And if you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you never miss one of my uploads. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care.